Hello and welcome to exercise 2.2. Now this isn't going to be a usual exercise. I'm going to address something quite early and something quite differently now before we get too far into it, because it's something that occurs quite often. It's the question that pops up where someone asks the question, how do I make, or how do I create, for example, how do I make grass, or how do I make a chess piece, or how do I make this, etc, etc. And the reason why I want to address this now is because there's no right way to do it, and it's all about addressing your problem or what solution is required for what you're trying to do. Let's say it's for a game or for a render or an animation. These can be very different things. So what I'm going to address now is just a couple of different ways to achieve basically the same result, and none of them are wrong. So just have fun in the environment and just create for now. And there's nothing, you can't do anything wrong yet, just play with it. So I'm just going to show you first, I think, a box way of creating the same chess piece, adding this chess piece, putting it to its same position, and all I'm going to do is create the same result, but this time I'm going to start off with a circle. I am in the front position, so I've got the Z axis, and I'm going to scale it up. Push edit mode and move it up, and I'm just going to extrude and scale it this time. And this one here, I want to move it right up so we get a better feel of what's actually going on. So if I put one ring segment to this position and one here, I'm simply kind of like a box using rings. I think often this is called ring modeling, just creating the end result. This isn't exactly box modeling. Box modeling is sharper edges generally. Though some people may call this box modeling, I don't think so. And by doing that, we've quickly created a very similar result. And we can do the same as before, add our subsurface modifier and sharpen edges. Another way to achieve a similar result.
Adam?
Yeah?
You want some cheesecake?
No, I'm alright, thank you though.
Okay.
Cheers. One other way to achieve a similar result is by using a curve. And a lot of traditionalists would actually prefer this way. And you may see why very quickly. So if I move this curve, as we did before, and use this curve to create the outline, you can see probably quite quickly that I'm getting actually a much more organic and smoother definition of the object as opposed to if I use polygons. And with a bit of manipulation, you can get some very nice results. Just go ahead, finish this off quickly, give you a nice idea of what's going on. There we go. Not quite. Sorry, I'm doing this quickly. I'm just trying to get you the idea of it. As you can see, we can use these curves to create the geometry. And over here we get the resolution. So we can turn it up and down. So when we'd like, if we wanted to, we can Alt-C, create the mesh from the curve. So we got a nice mesh from the curve, and then use our screw modifier on the y-axis this time, because I had it along the wrong axis. No, I rotated the curve object along its 90-degree axis. So that's when you've got to be aware of rotating an object around its origin. As you can see here. There you go. Very easy to show. So I had it rotated 90, a tab, rotated 90. I'll have to make it now instead. Although it's off center. There you go. Another method would be to do something similar again, and I'll merge it center, not subdivide it, extrude it up, and I'm going to turn this into a skin for the sake of it. So as you can see, it's now created a skin, and from here I can apply it, which is often done. I can now go into sculpt mode, and I can sculpt it much like, turn dynamic topology on, because that's fantastic, and I can actually create geometry in real time as if it was clay. This is my favorite tool, and I can create chess pieces out of this. As you can see, it's much more organic, and I'd only do it to hard surface objects generally when I'm creating a texture on the surface, like a skin or a hair-like texture, or pores, for example, around the nose is really important. Otherwise I probably wouldn't be changing geometry on a hard surface object, but it's still great fun to play with, and it's probably worth playing with it a bit. As you can see, if I turn this one down, I'm actually creating more geometry, and this, you see the vertices go up quite dramatically. I've also got it on a symmetry, so it's going across the x-axis at the moment. I'll turn that off, and now it's only working on one side. And you can see the geometry going up quite dramatically. If I turned it up, as you can see, I'm actually reducing geometry. So you can use it to actually subtract or create geometry. It's quite cool. I wouldn't. It creates triangles, so it's not necessarily very pretty or easy to work with. So something like unwrapping won't be very fun, but it's definitely useful in a lot of circumstances. Okay, one more way of creating this I can think of off the top of my head. I would mention it now. It's using Python in a text interface. If you actually know the exact location of where you want these polygons, you can actually manually type it in using the Python interface. And if you know the Blender application Python interface, you can actually find out all the keys for creating polygons at the locations that you require. This can be very useful. I probably wouldn't use it to make anything very simple like this unless you are very good with Python. I'm just letting you know this because Python has been there for me many times and has been fantastically useful. I had a rig of 600 bones and had a switch between inverse kinematics and non. I had one property wrong on about 120 armatures inside a rig. And the easiest way for me to change that property on every armature in that rig was simply to type in a script of, I think it was 4 lines of code, and that actually changed that property for me of every bone that I left in the scene, which was the easiest way I felt to do it at the time. So I thought I'd just let you know about that one. Otherwise, thanks for watching. This is not a usual exercise. I won't be doing this again, I don't think, as an exercise. I just thought it was really important to throw it out early to let you know that these options are there. And hope it wasn't overwhelming. Otherwise, please subscribe or support us on Patreon. Thank you.